So 2023 is here, which means it's time to make some predictions for the upcoming NASCAR season. I'm getting better at this, y'all. In 2021, I got majority of my predictions wrong. Last year, I was about 50-50, some right, some wrong. We'll see what happens this time with my 2023 predictions. I feel like I got a lot more bold predictions this year compared to previous years of doing this, which means it's going to make this pretty interesting. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into this. First prediction, Austin Dillon gets his first multi-win season. Yes, we all know Austin Dillon is a mediocre cup driver and hasn't really shown out that much. He's always kind of backed into wins instead of actually seeing him outdrive his competition. Well, I think that finally happens this year. One of his wins will be a win that falls into his lap. You know how Austin Dillon usually gets his wins. But his other win will be him just straight up beating the field, which is not normal for Austin Dillon at all. I think in general this will be Austin Dillon's best season since he's been in Cup. He finally has a teammate that's really good, and that teammate being Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is going to push Austin Dillon to become better. Hailie Deegan will perform slightly better at ThorSport. Hailie has disappointed in the truck series so far. She runs in the 20s every week and so far hasn't shown any sign of improvement. She's going to ThorSport, which is an upgrade over DGR, but I don't think she's going to go from running 20th to 5th all of a sudden. I think she will run about 5 to 6 positions better and snag a few top 10s. I'm predicting 0 wins, 1 top 5, 5 top 10s, and a 15th place points finish. Obviously, I hope she does much better than that, but from what I've seen from Hailie Deegan so far, I think that's about realistic. Martin Truex Jr. would get his final career win and announce his retirement in 2023. Truex has been on the downslide the past few years and he's 43 years old. He kept hinting retirement last year but decided to stay for another year. I think 2023 will finally be it for him, but I don't see him going winless in his final year. I think he gets one last win. Kyle Busch will win 4 to 5 races in 2023. Listen, Kyle Busch is motivated, and when Kyle Busch is motivated, he does amazing things. In 2008, he won 8 races after Hendrick Motorsports showed him the door. In 2015, he came back from an injury and he won a ton and won the championship. Heading into 2023, he's going to be super motivated after JGR and Toyota did him dirty. Kyle Busch is going to have one of his best seasons in years. I'm not saying he's going to win 8 races like in 2008, but he will definitely be the guy to beat a lot in 2023. Christopher Bell will win 6 races, leading all drivers in wins. Christopher Bell is coming into his own, and we saw that at the end of 2022. He got 2 clutch wins and made the final 4. And in 2023, he takes that next step and becomes the guy to beat for the championship. Bell is insanely talented. He just needed to figure out the cup cars, and now he has. Plus, he has one of the best crew chiefs in the business, and that's Adam Stevens. These two are going to make for a deadly combo, not just in 2023, but for years to come. Tyler Reddick won't outdo Bubba Wallace by a lot like what a lot of people are predicting. Tyler Reddick is an insanely talented race car driver. Obviously, we seen what he did last year driving for RCR, snagging 3 wins. Now, he's at 2311 Racing, and I think he would definitely be great, but Bubba Wallace won't be that far behind him. Bubba has continued to improve as a race car driver, and people are insane if they haven't noticed. The second half of 2022 had Bubba Wallace being a weekly top 10 driver, and if he can do that for a whole season, he can mess around and find himself in the final 4. More on Bubba Wallace later on in this video. Short tracks will have lower attendance in 2023. I say this because of the awful racing we seen last year at the short tracks. The Gen 7 car sucks at these type of tracks, and from what it seems, NASCAR isn't making any changes to improve the racing at these type of tracks, which means fans aren't going to have as much interest of wanting to attend those races. The only short track that will have great attendance is North Wilkesboro for obvious reasons. Austin Cindric will be the biggest underdog of 2023. People are sleeping on Cindric. Besides winning the Daytona 500, he had a solid rookie year. He got 5 top 5s and 9 top 10s in a season full of parity, and that's not bad at all. Cindric is a true student of the game. We see him be trash in Xfinity when he first started, but he picked it up and shown insane improvement. I'm expecting the same in Cup. Team Penske is fast. They just won the championship with Logano. I think Cindric is not only going to get 1 win, but multiple wins this season and continue to improve being consistent. He won't be a title contender, but he's going to take a big step going forward in 2023. Ty Gibbs won't run away with Rookie of the Year. His only competition is Noah Gragson for Rookie of the Year, but I don't expect him to run away with it. I see neither of Ty and Noah winning in 2023, but when it comes to who's putting up better results, it's going to be Ty Gibbs. But I think Noah will be right there with him. What's going to make the difference is that Ty is in better equipment than Noah Gragson. Yes, I do think Petty GMS is going to be much better this year than last year, but they obviously won't be at JGR level. The Chicago street course is going to be a disaster. Attendance won't be great. Just look at the goddamn ticket prices. I live in Chicago and that race is only like 30 minutes from me, but I won't be going because the tickets are too damn high. The racing will suck. Look at the layout. It's going to be follow the leader for the first half of the race and then become a wreckfest in the second half because there's no true passage zones. Drivers are going to be dive bombing and it's going to turn into a complete mess. Speaking of a complete mess, NASCAR will use rain tires at some point this year on the ovals. Recently, NASCAR has confirmed that they will use rain tires on the short oval tracks if the conditions are damped. I see this going very badly, but hey, this is NASCAR going for chaos once again. Jimmie Johnson will attempt a double. Jimmie's going to be running part-time in the Cup Series this year for Petty GMS, and he already confirmed to be running the Daytona 500, but as of recording this video, that's all we know. I'm pretty confident that the 600 will be on his bucket list. He has an Indy 500 under his belt and I'm pretty sure he wants to do it again. This opens up the opportunity for him to do the double and I think there's a good chance he will. I'm sure after his first attempt with Chip Ganassi, I'm sure Chip will be willing to have him in one of his cars for the Indy 500. There will be a big three this year. I know we just came off a season where parity was at an all-time high, but I think you're going to see a few teams separate themselves from the field this year. I mentioned earlier that Christopher Bell will have 6 wins and will be a championship threat. The others will be, I think, Kyle Busch. Like I said earlier, I think he gets 4 to 5 wins this season. And then it's a toss-up between Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. I think these are going to be the guys that's going to be winning the most and finding themselves at the front frequently in 2023. Yes, I get that the Gen 7 car is supposed to quote-unquote make it an even playing field, but how many times have we heard that in the past when NASCAR made changes to the cars and we would still see a team or a few teams take off from the rest of the field? In 2023, there will be a big three, which means get ready for fans to start complaining just like in 2018. Parker Kligerman will make the Final Four in Xfinity. I can't tell you how excited I am that Parker Kligerman is finally getting a solid full-time shot. He's going to be driving for Big Machine Racing, who is a team that's on the come up. They got their first career win in Texas last year with Tyler Reddick and has shown speed with most drivers that sat in that car. The RCR alliance seems to be strong and you got a great talent like Parker Kligerman hopping into that car. And I think that's going to equal success. I don't see Parker winning a lot of races this year. I actually only see him winning 2 at most, but he's going to be one of the most consistent drivers in the Xfinity Series this year. I think consistency will lead him to the Final Four this year in 2023 for Parker Kligerman. NASCAR this year will announce that they are going international in 2024. NASCAR has been constantly talking about this for a while, and I see them finally confirming that in 2023 that they are taking one of the top 3 series international. What tracks, I don't know. I would love to see the Cup Series go to Montreal or Mexico, or yet go even bolder and take the Cup Series to the United Kingdom and race at Brands Hatch, which would be pretty damn cool. Ryan Preece will surprise people. It seemed like when Preece got announced to the 41, many people wasn't that impressed with the move. Yeah, his time with JTG Racing wasn't the greatest at all, but when Preece sits in good equipment, he usually delivers. He's done that in modifieds, trucks, and Xfinity vehicles, and now he's getting a good shot in Cup. Now, the bad news is that he has Chad Johnson as his crew chief, aka Mr. Always 4 Tires, a crew chief that never wants to gamble to give his driver an opportunity to win. Just ask Tony Stewart fans and Kyle Larson fans like myself. I guess the bright side is that Preece has a history of working with Chad Johnson recently. They worked together in the Truck Series when they were at DGR and had good results. Now, I'm not saying their success in the trucks is going to translate to Cup, but The good news for both of them is that they both have chemistry. I think Priest is going to snag 10 to 12 top 10s and make the playoffs on points, because that's right, I don't think we're getting 16 winners before the playoffs like last year. Nick Sanchez and Roger Carruth will both miss the playoffs. Let me just say that both of these drivers have talent and they will have their success eventually, but they are both entering their rookie years in the Truck Series, and the Truck Series is stacked. Only 10 drivers can make the playoffs, and I just don't see both of them doing it in their rookie year. I do think by the second half of the season they will both be consistent front runners. Bubba Wallace won't win multiple races in 2023, but he will be much more consistent than he ever has during his Cup career up to this point. He will get a win, but the amount of top 5s and top 10s he gets this year will shatter the amount he had last year. North Wilkesboro won't live up to the hype when it comes to the majority of the fan base. This race is going to be the most hyped race of the year. It's a classic track that the Cup Series hasn't raced at since 1996, and the fans have been wanting it back. Now, is that just nostalgia talking, or did people really enjoy the track when it was around? Because when you go back and watch old North Wilkesboro races, the racing wasn't a barn burner. It was solid racing, but it's not a Bristol or Martinsville. Me personally enjoy watching those races, and I hope it gets a points paying race at some point. But knowing the expectations of NASCAR fans nowadays, I think this race is going to disappoint a lot of people. You factor in with how shitty the Gen 7 cars are at short tracks, and it just makes it to where it's set up to be a disappointing race to many people. And my last 2023 NASCAR prediction is that Brandon Jones will win 5 races in his debut season with Junior Motorsports. Jones went from a driver that didn't do a damn thing even though he had the equipment, to a driver that puts up solid results now. I don't think Brandon Jones is a Cup caliber driver, but he's definitely starting to become a top Xfinity guy. With Joe Gibbs Racing, he got better each season. He scored 5 total wins with JGR, and now he's heading to Junior Motorsports. He's not upgrading when it comes to equipment, but Brandon Jones is going to have a true breakout season with Junior Motorsports. He's around a new environment. It's kind of a reset for him, and I think he's going to pop off this year. Hopefully he's around teammates that won't dump him for the win like what Ty Gibbs did. So there it is, my 2023 NASCAR predictions. It's always fun looking back on these at the end of the season to see how I did. It's going to be another interesting year in NASCAR. The sport is just so crazy right now, and it seems like it's stuff catching us off guard every week. So with all that said, what are your 2023 NASCAR predictions? Tell me which of my predictions you agree and disagree with. I'm curious to see what y'all got to say. So that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and roll up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.